His name was Benny, though he didn't know that yet. He only knew the sound of it, the way it was spoken softly in the evenings, the way it carried warmth, the way it meant food, safety, and gentle hands. Right now there were no familiar voices, only the wind rustling through tall grass and the distant hum of a road he had wandered too close to. Benny sat still, his small chest rising and falling quickly. One ear stood up while the other folded slightly, as if unsure what it should be listening for. The ground beneath him was cold. He could smell damp earth, old leaves, and something sharp and metallic in the air that made him uneasy. He was lost. It had happened earlier that morning, though time felt strange to him now. The day had begun like any other. The sun had crept through the windows of the small house on the edge of town. The kitchen smelled like toast and tea. Benny had been lying near the door, chewing gently on one of his toys, when the gate creaked open. He remembered lifting his head. Outside, the world looked inviting. The grass beyond the fence swayed gently, carrying unfamiliar smells. Somewhere, a bird fluttered low, and Benny's instincts, young, curious, and untrained, pulled him forward. He had stepped out slowly at first, one paw, then another. The gate had closed behind him with a soft click he barely noticed. By the time he turned around, the house looked farther away than it ever had before. At first, Benny thought it was a game. He walked forward, tail wagging, nose to the ground. Everything was new. The smells were exciting, other dogs, old food wrappers, tire tracks, and something sweet that reminded him faintly of his owner's jacket. But as the sun climbed higher, the excitement faded. The road grew wider. The houses looked unfamiliar. The voices that passed by didn't call his name. Benny tried following one scent trail after another, but they twisted and faded. Each wrong turn took him farther from what he knew. Now, as evening approached, he sat beside a field he didn't recognize, his paws sore, his stomach empty, and his heart heavy with a feeling he couldn't explain. He whimpered softly. A car passed by on the road nearby, its lights flashing briefly across his face. Benny flinched and backed away, pressing himself into the tall grass. The noise scared him. Everything scared him now. He thought of the floor inside the house, the way it felt cool and smooth beneath his paws. He thought of the bowl that clinked softly when food was poured into it. He thought of the hand that scratched under his chin and the voice that said his name with love. Benny curled up, tucking his nose under his tail. He did not know how long he stayed there before sleep finally came. He woke to the sound of rain. At first, it was light, just a soft tapping on the grass, but soon it grew heavier. Cold drops soaked into his fur, and Benny stood up quickly, shaking himself, though it did little good. The sky was dark now, heavy with clouds. The smells around him had changed, washed away or mixed together. Everything felt unfamiliar again. Benny began to walk. He didn't know where he was going. He only knew that staying still felt wrong. He followed the edge of the field until it met a narrow road. Water pooled in small dips along the ground. His paws splashed as he walked, and he whimpered again, louder this time. A faint light appeared ahead. Benny hesitated. He remembered the loud cars and the fear they brought. But this light was softer, warmer. He moved toward it slowly. It came from a small house older than the one he knew, with a porch that sagged slightly in the middle. A single lamp glowed beside the door. The door opened. An old man stepped out, holding an umbrella. He stopped when he saw Benny. "Well now," the man said quietly. "Where did you come from, little one?" Benny froze. He wanted to run, but the man's voice was gentle. It reminded him just a little of home. The man crouched down slowly and set the umbrella aside. He held out his hand, palm open. Benny sniffed the air. The man smelled like wood, soap, and something warm and steady. Hunger and exhaustion pushed Benny forward. He took a step, then another. The man smiled. "That's it," he said softly. "You must be tired." He brought Benny inside, wrapping him in an old towel. The house smelled comforting, like soup and dust and old books. The man poured water into a bowl and placed it near Benny. Benny drank eagerly. Later, after drying him off, the man gave him a small portion of food. Benny ate slowly at first, then faster, realizing no one was taking it away. That night, Benny slept near the fireplace, curled up on a rug that smelled faintly of other animals long gone. But even in his sleep, his ears twitched. Something inside him knew this was not where he belonged. The next morning the rain had stopped. Sunlight streamed through the window, warming Benny's fur. He stood up and stretched, feeling a little stronger now. The old man watched him quietly from his chair. "You're looking better," he said, "but I don't think you're mine." He opened the door and stepped outside, letting Benny follow. The air smelled clean and fresh. Somewhere in the distance a dog barked. Benny's ears perked up. The man sighed gently. "You've got somewhere to be, don't you?" He bent down and clipped a simple string around Benny's collar, writing a small note and tying it carefully. "If someone sees you," he said, "they'll know you're loved." He opened the gate. Benny hesitated, looking back. The man smiled. "Go on now." Benny trotted forward, then paused again, letting out a small bark, his way of saying thank you. Then he went on. The town slowly came alive as the day passed. Shops opened, people walked by. Some noticed Benny and smiled. Others hurried past. A group of children spotted him near a park. "Look, a puppy!" one of them said. They ran over, laughing, and Benny backed away at first, unsure. But their laughter wasn't cruel. One of them knelt down and read the note tied to his collar. "He's lost," the child said. "We should help him." They tried walking with him, but Benny kept pulling in another direction. His nose worked constantly now, catching something familiar in the air. It was faint, but it was there. Home. The children followed him for a while, then stopped near the edge of town. "My mom won't let me go farther," one said. They watched as Benny continued on alone. The road grew quieter again. Trees lined both sides, their leaves whispering in the breeze. Benny walked steadily now, no longer wandering aimlessly. Every step felt guided by something deeper than thought. He crossed a small bridge. He passed a broken sign he vaguely remembered seeing once from a car window. His legs ached, but he did not stop. As the sun began to lower, Benny reached a familiar stretch of road. His heart began to pound. He recognized the smell of the air here, the mix of grass, dust, and something warm and human. He broke into a run. And then he saw it, the blue gate. It stood just as it always had, slightly crooked, paint peeling at the edges. Benny barked, once, twice. The door flew open. "Benny!" the voice cried out. He ran, arms wrapped around him, hands shook as they held him close. Tears fell into his fur. "Oh, Benny," his owner whispered, "where did you go?" Benny licked her face, whining, tail wagging wildly. He had no words to explain the long road, the rain, the fear, or the kindness he had found along the way. He only knew this: he was home. That night, Benny slept deeply, curled up in his favorite spot. Outside, the world continued on, wide and uncertain, but inside, everything was exactly as it should be. And though Benny would always remember his journey, he never again stepped through the gate without looking back first.